Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum.
The Long Winter.
Yeah.
A Game of Thrones Popcorn Heroes Show podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
that sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Long Winter, our Game of Thrones podcast. And like always, we're going to break down the latest episode of Season 8, Episode 2.
Yep. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Right. And so, yeah, we're going to go give a quick recap of the show, of the episode, and just discuss it. So,
On the fly.
right, Pedro, take it away.
So, I actually thought this episode was awesome. And it starts off with Jaime being brought before the Northern Court.
Yeah, in the Great Hall.
Yeah, in front of Dany, Sansa, to decide his fate. And there they find out that, of course, as usual, Cersei lied. But
Yeah, that was I forgot that Dany has clearly a gripe with Jaime. Like he's a Kingslayer, and then you kind of forget because Jaime has literally fucked up everybody back then. Like everybody has beef with him. Even
old Jaime was a fucking prick, dude.
So everybody has beef with him, and so I kind of forgot that
you were like,
Dany has beef with him as well, even though they haven't met before.
You know, I was kind of thinking the same. I'm like, I understand why the Starks hate him so much, but why do you hate him? You know, your dad was a fucking psycho, but then at the end of the day,
that's still her dad.
He still killed your dad, Mad King or not.
Exactly.
So
that was pretty interesting to see, especially everyone almost in agreement of like, fuck this dude. He's done too much.
Yeah, he's done too much, and then you get Brienne over here. Actually, before that, a cool little, funny little scene that I thought was where he goes, "The things we do for love." When Bran throws that in there,
even that was a type of shade. Even though Bran is clearly like no longer Bran and no longer like holding that kind of grudge.
Yeah,
he clearly is like, yeah, nigga, like you fucked up, So everyone has like their gripe with Jaime right now. Yeah, and so it was pretty interesting to see that because honestly, I wouldn't. If the episode went to like, okay, he's just imprisoned or he got killed, I would be like, oh, what?
Well, I mean,
it is Game of Thrones, and it wouldn't be the first time that someone gets cut down in the Great Hall. Literally, Littlefinger got literally. Yeah, his throat got slit. Like that was
he got fucking sashimi, dude.
Yeah, so that was literally like judge and executioner right then and there. So I thought it was gonna. If it happened that way, I wouldn't be surprised. But you're right. Yeah, we have Brianna Tarth coming up, and she vouches for him. Yeah,
it's funny. Everyone was like essentially gonna burn this dude, gonna like get rid of him, right? And then Brienne's like, hold up. He's okay in my book.
Yeah.
And Sansa's like, all right.
I mean, it makes sense because Sansa owes Brienne like everything. Like,
right.
Brienne is the reason why she's alive and the reason why she's there, and Brienne is, Sansa is now basically the Lady of Winterfell. She is the Queen of Winterfell. So
she is her mother now.
She could, make that call of like, all right, well, if you vouch for him, he's good on my book. Mm-hmm. And then, clearly Dany doesn't agree.
Yeah, it was so funny. Dany was just like, did this bitch just 180 me right now? Like, we were in agreement and suddenly,
clearly Dany doesn't agree. But at the end of the day, they throw it to Jon, and Jon is just like, look, I'm not going to obviously choose between my girl and my sister. Fuck it. Like, he can stay. Like, I don't want any part of this.
But Jon's always the same way. He's always like, it's more bodies. Like, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's more bodies against the army of the dead. Well,
yeah. And so it's pretty interesting. And we obviously had...
like people at this point are still playing the Game of Thrones except Jon. Jon is like legit like, yo, everyone needs to just fucking deal with the problem at hand. Like, stop this shit. Stop this beef.
And we've seen the consequences of basically Tyrion believing so much in his family. And we spoke about it last episode of like, he's...
That's his weak spot.
His weak spot. He's been played too many times. in recent episodes. And so so he has to face the consequences of that. And so Dany's not happy that she easily fell for that. And the thing is that at the end of the day, like I said, I understand Tyrion because that's his fucking brother, and like they're close. Dany doesn't have that. Dany doesn't have a family that she ever cared about.
Right.
She only cares about the throne, and then Drogo she cared about. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And then her family, she lost the baby that she had. Her sons are technically her dragons.
Right, exactly.
Too. So, and they really can't communicate. So she's never had that like that blind spot, you know? Even currently now, I guess her blind spot would be Jon in the way they love each other.
For sure.
But she still has her guard up. And she's still
right,
like,
which we see in this episode as
exactly.
well.
She still has her guard up, and she's not fully like blinded by love, and as Tyrion is with his brother.
Yeah. What's kind of funny about Dany, pretty much Tyrion being in the shit list for Dany, it was actually Jorah that convinces her to be like, hey man,
yeah,
he's a smart guy. He just he fucked up. Well, what can you do, right?
Yeah, and it's weird because Jorah clearly like he loves Dany. He's always been loving Dany, and he's always, I would say, like he's kind of been like that at first, like kind of like that nice guy sleazebag, like kind of like I'm nice, but I want to fuck, and so I'm just being nice to fuck.
Which is what our nickname for him was always, Lord Friendzone.
Yeah, and so now
but he's definitely
past that. He's
past it. I'm sure he still loves her.
Yeah, he's definitely past it because
he's not like a puppy dog anymore.
Nah, he used to be, and I think it's because he came forward because. Honestly, since he's past it, like I have no more like goals here. Like I have no end goal with you anymore.
Right.
So it's like
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to serve next to you, and like it doesn't matter. Like and even if I'm your hand or not, like it doesn't matter. Like I'm you by your side, and serving you is where I want to be. So he doesn't really have an end goal anymore. So it's kind of nice to see him develop as a character in that sense, because. He literally like
he's not needy anymore.
He's not needy, and him fighting for Tyrion is that example of like, yeah, dude, I don't like if
he's better in that position than I would be.
Exactly,
even with his fuck up,
because he knows if Tyrion goes, he's next in line.
Yeah,
in that regard. So, I mean, there is,
and they had scenes together too, so it was kind of cool that they actually had moments to bond and.
Yeah, exactly, and we all know that the hand of the king, hand of the queen is a very, very powerful position. Essentially, it's like a vice president, but we're actually more power.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that's. I get where you're going with this.
Right. Yeah. And so,
I mean, literally, you're the right hand man. That's
right. And we've seen it throughout the show, and like literally, like Ned.
It's also a cursed position at one point.
It is. It is a cursed position, and honestly, no one really ends up coming out of it alive, but. Even with the first example of Ned and Robert, and Ned steered Robert in so many directions in the first season of like, hey, like listen to me, I'm your hand. He's like, fuck it, you're my hand, you're my brother, I'll fucking fight for you. So yeah, so the hand of the queen is a very, very powerful position, and so we see the consequences of Tyrion being foolish when it comes to his family, and I'm glad that he vouched for him. That happened,
and like you said, he owned up to it. He's like, yep. My sister, I figure, she had a kid, you vouched for her. I mean, I fucked up. So. Yeah.
And is that the scene where like Jaime and him are talking, where like he's like, hey, do you trust her? Like, because they're outside they're out there in Winterfell walking. He's like, hey, do you trust the queen? Do you trust Daenerys? And he's like, yeah, with my life. And he's like, are you sure? Like, the last person we trusted, last Targaryen ended up being like the Mad King, and he's like, no, you can trust her. And we've seen snippets.
Oh right, yes. It was obviously it was this guy asking Tyrion. Yeah.
And we've seen it was Jaime and Tyrion talking, and we've seen snippets of her losing her shit or slightly losing her shit so far.
Yeah. I feel like this is the show just kind of having us doubt her, because no one can be too good for too long. Everyone has to have their moments of doubt.
Right.
So it's just her turn, really. Just like, oh yeah. She's pretty fucking crazy. She has her moments like everyone else.
I mean, I think Jon is pretty solid.
He was solid, but he had his moments in previous seasons.
You think so?
Yeah, like was it last season? I forgot which one it was, but he was like doubting every single thing he did, and it was just like getting really annoying.
Yeah.
I think it was last season, maybe even the season before. It was like, come on, man, like toughen up already, you know?
Yeah.
So, but as far as like crazy shit, no, yeah, he's been pretty solid.
He's been pretty solid. Yeah, and then we have
Jamie talking to Bran.
Right. They're basically
Yeah, they're one-on-one. He's like, hey,
thank you so much. You kind of saved my life. And she's just like,
you were teasing me with it, but you didn't tell everybody what I did, you know?
Yeah. And
he's like, yeah, you'd be dead, and we'd have one less person to fight.
Yeah. And it's weird because everyone is meeting Bran like now basically, but no one realizes that Bran is not Bran. And so they're always like dumbstruck of like, why is he so awkward?
Right. They're always like, hey man, I'm not Bran anymore. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah. So it's great that they...
Yeah, no one can comprehend like what he is right now. The fact that he's seeing everything at the same time, essentially.
And so, yeah, they have a conversation and he's just like, look, that's in the past, whatever. And he's just like, well, what if I make it do this? He's like, who says we're gonna make it?
Yeah. So I got a weird theory about that. I mean, there's so many freaking theories when it comes to Bran. I really have no idea where the show's going to take us with it.
Yeah.
But a part of me kind of thinks that he sees the future only as far as he's alive. So him saying, what makes you think there's a future? Maybe he dies meeting the Night King. That'd be kind of fucking crazy, but I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. He doesn't know what's after it. Because they even asked him about wildfire. Like, will that work? And he was like, I don't know. I've never been done before. And I'm like, damn. It was kind of strange hearing him say, I don't know, because he usually knows everything.
He's saying that no one's ever used it before. So in his history books, it's never been done before. So he doesn't know.
I guess that kind of makes sense because he does have the knowledge of like all the
past
stuff. Yeah. Okay.
And the thing is, it's weird because I think what it is as well is like when Sam told Bran about Jon's, like
lineage,
he's like, oh, Bran had to go there to that moment. So until Sam mentioned it, he'd never been to that moment.
Oh yeah.
So he's kind of like just surfing through the pages, like strimming through like the chapters, but he's not stopping anywhere.
Right, until he figures.
So,
okay.
So I think it's kind of like that. I think he can see so much, but he's not stopping to take it all in. Mm-hmm. So he can't predict anything or, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, Bran, so we're not sure what the fuck is he looking at or where he's deciding to go in his mind in terms of like back and forth and forward and back. So
there's a funny thing about a lot of people keep saying that, he has like that creepy stare now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read that interview. They were like, hey, you do a really, essentially they were like, you do a really good, like stare. Like, how do you get into the zone to do that? And he's like, oh, I'm just not wearing my glasses. I can't see shit without them. So I knew that going into, the episode. When he just started staring, I just started busting out laughing because I just imagined him just seeing like everything a blur.
Yeah,
like just acting away, just blurriness. So.
I mean, that must suck. That must suck because it depends how long his scenes are. Because the glasses are back on.
Yeah,
because I have bad vision as well.
I mean, technically, he could put contacts if it fucks with him that much, but maybe to get into the zone, he's just like, I just want to see blurs. But you're right. You can get headaches.
Exactly. I have bad vision as well, so if I take out my glasses in within maybe 20, 30 minutes, I probably get like a slight headache. I can't imagine doing it on set for hours. So he probably has them on his lap, and then they're like, okay, action.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Puts them back on, so that makes sense.
Yeah, under the blankets he's got all
all the robes. He has like probably all his glasses there, and then he puts them back on.
Yeah.
And his scenes aren't that long. I just want to see who pushes him. Because he's always there. He's never moved. No one's ever pushing him.
It's so crazy. I'm just like, you need me to move you? No. I'm like, no one's ever pushed. It's so true. And the thing is,
his arms work, right?
Yeah, his arms work.
Because I remember when he was crippled, he was still moving his arms.
Yeah, his arms work.
So his arms work.
It's just from the waist down.
Yeah, so I just want to see him move.
Because you remember he grabbed on to Hodor. He would
Yeah. So I want to see him move, but whatever. That's neither here or there.
So I'm interested in seeing because obviously he was waiting for Jaime and he let him live, of course, by not mentioning it. So he has So I'm assuming Jaime has a big part to play. Maybe it's the Cersei thing we keep talking about, or maybe it's something bigger.
Right. And we assumed that maybe he had something for him, like a quest or something he had to do, but that didn't happen. So he probably just saw something like, I need you for whatever reason.
Like something's going to happen in this battle that you're going to be here to stop or something.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And even if I think he didn't need him, I think Bran doesn't care anymore. So it's just like
he really doesn't.
So it's not like he was gonna fight for him. He wasn't gonna fight for Jaime, nor was he gonna like sentence him to death.
He actually had a good conversation. It was pretty much without you pushing me off the tower, I wouldn't have become who I've become now.
Right, exactly.
And pretty much if you hadn't done that either, you wouldn't become who you became. Pretty much he was saying that everything happens for a reason.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so and you saw that play out because like Bran didn't throw him on the bus nor defended him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like whatever happens in this like little
this little thing, this little timeline or whatever.
Yeah, but if you end up dying, I guess that's meant to happen. If you don't end up dying, I guess that's not meant to happen. So it makes sense.
So after this scene that cuts to Arya meeting up with Gendry, and she starts asking him about the White Walkers. Like, oh, you've seen the White Walkers. Like, what do they look like? And he's just all like, I don't know, they're just fucking dead, right?
Yeah.
She's like, no, because, you can see her strategic mind, her assassin mind into play. Like,
yeah, she wants to know, like, how do they work? How they move? And,
weaknesses and whatnot, because she's already ready, like, to go in and start hitting their weak spots or whatever. But I just thought that was kind of cool because there's a lot of times where they keep showing that Arya is, like, super badass.
Yeah.
And we all know, she kind of is, but I feel like we don't see it enough. We don't see how her mind works when it comes to, taking in like a situation.
Right.
Like pretty much her strategic mind. We don't really see it in play.
Right.
She trained a little bit and then suddenly she's like awesome. But it's kind of cool to see that like, okay, you could see she really is preparing.
Yeah, that preparation.
She's not just throwing, she did it right after, like throwing knives like perfectly, like bullseye. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I kind of want to see where your mindset is.
Right. I mean, even, you're right. You're absolutely right. Even calling back to season 7, where she killed the old man. She killed the...
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't really see that. And that had to take some strategic planning.
Some training and all that, right?
Yeah, because she's literally like, was right there when he died.
Yeah.
So you just can't be just doing that kind of shit.
Right.
So you're right. So there is a way of her thinking that we didn't really get to see until now. Mm-hmm. In terms of like, let me plan this shit out. How is this going to work?
Yeah, she's like, give me details. I want to know everything. I want to know how they smell. I want to know everything. And I'm like, that's awesome that they actually showed that because I didn't really see that part. They were kind of just making her badass for badass sake, but here you see it in the works. Right. So I thought that was pretty neat. And of course, they go back to the whole, building the weapon, which we'll figure out what that is afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, and she has it. She has it on her. She got it at the end, or
yeah. It was like a lance that can break into two, whatever. Which I think is going to be the whole. She's going to kill the dragon.
Yeah,
the Nymeria.
She's
thing
gonna
or whatever.
Nymeria. She's gonna do like a javelin throw.
Probably either kill it or weaken it to knock the Night King off. I'm assuming. After that, we get a scene with Dany and Sansa. Pretty much the clearing of the beef, where they all kind of right. It started off like that.
It kind of did. It started off very like, hey, like.
I love your brother.
Like women to women, let's just have a talk about like love and family and just understanding.
Yeah, it's not easy being a woman here, right? Yeah.
Let's squash all of this. Like we need to lead, and we're both two powerful women. How can we lead together? That's basically what I was seeing. And it turned a bit sour when Sansa's like, look, like you love my brother and everything, but what about the North?
Yeah.
And then
at the end of the day, we ain't bowing to no one. You know?
And the thing is that I understand.
You actually mentioned it on this last episode that you were like, they're probably just going to stay their own entity.
Exactly. And I understand Dany's her like move to like have the 7 kingdoms and be a ruler. That's her fucking dream. But you've met these people already. Mm-hmm. They're helping you fight in a war, basically. Like fuck it, you're here for Jon, but at the end of the day, like. Even if you said fuck Jon and you went up to up north, the walkers are gonna just collect those bodies in Winterfell and then come for you. Right. And then you have Cersei up there. So what are you gonna do? Like you gotta fight. So BS. You're here for Jon, but BS as well because you're also here.
Yeah, you're here because if not, you'd be overrun.
Exactly. So a little bit of truth, a little bit of a lie, and at the end of the day, like, what does it matter? Like, you see these people, and at the end of the day, it's Winterfell. Like, it's in those times, like, money wise, the Winter can't really offer you much because it's like crops and then like produce.
There's a reason the North is so vast. It's because no one wants to be up there.
Exactly, and that's why it's so empty. So it's like, why hold on to this? Like, and it doesn't.
It's not profitable to have them.
Exactly, it's not. But she's so gun ho for this. Like, I need to.
Yeah, I need everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, she's got that greedy part. To it, which to me I think is just a story arc. I think she'll grow out of it.
I think so too. I
don't see her falling into it.
Right. I think so too, in the sense of like, it's her because it's like her fucking dream, basically, like what she's dreamed about since season 1, and she just wants that accomplishment under her belt. But given the fact that she has like a lot of smart people around her, if they make it out alive, I feel like she could be persuaded. Like, look what they gave you, and look what you've been through. Like, is this?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, even if they survive, they kill Cersei, whatever is left over, the North still is gonna stand, and then you have to fight the North again. Like,
yeah.
So,
with what little you have left,
exactly,
or
so
what they both have.
So
left.
it's just like, you know, I truly think that they're gonna squash it. I don't really think. I think this is just like to give the audience some type of like, oh shit.
Yeah, of course.
They're gonna squash it.
So yeah, before they actually got into the conversation of that, they actually got interrupted because Theon returned, and that's where he pretty much reunites with Sansa. Yeah, and he says, "I will fight for the Starks." So he had his moment, his full circle moment, which I think that means that he's dead next episode.
I think he's going to, especially
because his character arc pretty much is going full circle.
Right.
So
you
I think he's gonna die for them, or die for Bran in this case.
Yeah. Because you were a Stark, you abandoned the Starks, you came back as a Stark.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a perfect end to his full cycle.
Right. I did like their meetup, even though they didn't speak as much.
Sansa and Theon.
Yeah, Theon. I did like, because he essentially saved her.
Yeah.
And he saved her at a time that like he was still broken as a character.
It's true.
Like, he was still manipulated.
Yeah, he was getting the PTSD, like the shakes, everything. He was at the lowest of the low, and he still... Yeah,
he was still able to like break out of it for a quick second and be like, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here. You need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And so, it
was the whole Ramsay Bolton story arc.
It really fucked him up, yeah.
Yeah, understandably, because that guy was...
Yeah, and the thing is that I feel like Theon, at this point of his life, he's ready to die.
Yeah.
He just wants to die honorably. He wants to die knowing that like he's like laid his bed. Like, everything is set.
Yeah.
Like, I made peace with like what I've done.
He's pretty much gonna do what is it, like pay the debt.
Yeah.
That he owes. So I think next episode, him going out, defending a Stark is like the best way to go.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I definitely don't see him surviving next episode.
I don't think so either.
And then after that, we have Tormund, Beric, and Ed. They arrive back from the Wall after seeing the dead Umbers. I guess they hauled ass and did some fast travel and beat the army of the dead.
Yeah.
And I just love that Tormund's first reaction is the big woman still here? Like, everyone's shitting themselves because the dead are going to be arriving the next day, and he always goes back to his boo. And okay. And then now that they're back, they actually decide to, with the news that the dead is coming, they all decide to create like the War Council. So they all come in and start planning how they're going to do it. And that's when Bran persuades everybody that he wants to be bait for the Night King, because he's pretty much the Night King's GPS,
Right. They're saying that the Night King, for some reason, wants him, that they're connected, and he's touched the Night King before.
Well, I mean, technically they explain why. It's because he has the memories of everything, like you were saying, that he's connected to all of it. And the Night King just wants all of that gone.
Yeah.
Like he said, truly forgotten is the true death.
He's the history books, so like burn the books.
Burn the books. Ah, so the Night King is Hitler in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go there. Why not? Yeah, so he decides to meet him at the Godswood, and that's where he's going to be defended by Theon and the Ironborn. So that's where it's happening, man.
Yeah. I feel like that's when he's gonna get his ass owned. Basically, Theon's gonna go.
Yeah.
And maybe Bran, I don't know, like that.
Right? I'm thinking too, maybe. At first, I thought Bran was the old guy, three-eyed raven, some weird time travel shit.
I did think that as well.
A part of me still thinks that, but a part of me thinks maybe not. Maybe.
I mean, who knows? Because Bran can also ward, so he might go into
warg. Yeah.
Warg.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying.
He can maybe warg into the dragons. Maybe he can warg into the ice, the one that's taken over, the dead dragon.
Yeah, they say when you warg and your body dies, you're stuck in it. So I guess, but again, that's the books.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like he can probably like if Theon dies and the fence is low, he could probably warg into like something and then save himself.
Yeah.
Save his body.
Damn, if he could warg into a dragon, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Who knows?
But it'd be kind of funny if, like, let's say Jon and Dany on the dragon doing some shit, and one of the dragon gets like warged by Bran and just starts flying the opposite direction. Like, yo, where the fuck are you going? And it's to save Bran. But who knows? We'll see what happens in the next episode. But yeah, that'd be interesting.
Then after that, it cuts to Missandei and Grey Worm. I always forget that they're there. They're such side characters at this point.
Yeah.
They don't really have anything except serving Dany. So they don't really serve a big purpose just yet.
Yeah, everyone in the show technically now is a big character.
That is true. There are a lot. Like Jorah's nothing, just there.
Yeah.
Davos was one of my favorite characters. Now he's just kind of like tagging along.
Yeah, they're more like common folk.
Yeah.
Of the show.
Common folk.
Yeah, just common.
Yeah. But they get that little moment where everyone's sizing them up. What I called the racist moment last time, where everyone's like, "Ain't from around here, are you?" And then they start talking about running away to this place called Nath together at the beaches. I think that's like 101 of like you're dead as fuck.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, we're gonna have a happily ever after, right? Of course. No.
I think
it could still happen, but I think the chances are very unlikely.
Do you think they both are gonna die?
I think so. Yeah. I would bet on that, but Theon for damn sure. Theon's 100%.
Yeah.
But these guys, I would say a little bit more than 50%.
I think she can survive because she's not gonna be fighting, so she'd probably be in the crypt or something.
Or he'll save her.
Maybe.
Well, Grey Worm for sure.
Grey Worm for sure.
I can see that.
Because he's a fighter and he doesn't give up, and
especially since he's got her to fight for at this moment, he really is going to give it his all.
Yeah, so he's just not going to let go. So he's going to probably find himself too deep, like in the trenches of the fight, and then not be able to get out. So yeah, I feel like he's going to go.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking, damn, wouldn't it be crazy? Big characters die and they just get rezzed back. That's going to be pretty crazy to watch.
Yeah, I have a
depending on who it's going to be.
I have a theory, but we'll get to the end. We'll
all right.
The end of the episode.
Don't forget that theory then.
I got it. Don't worry.
There was a nice little moment where Jon, Sam, and Ed, which are pretty much the last of the Night's Watch, like 5 or 6 friends together. They're the last 3, and they're kind of just reminiscing about the wall. And even Ed is like, damn, Sam is the fucking killer of White Walkers and lover of women. Like, and here I am, like, nothing compared to it when he was like the dweeb of the group. I thought that was pretty funny. It's like, yeah, it's a sign of the world really ending. But it was just kind of cool to see how they've all grown up from then, because you haven't really seen. It's always Jon and Sam,
right?
Like reminiscing, but it's kind of nice to see another one, at least one that's still alive, kind of jump into that, because I'm trying to remember the other 2. Well, one got killed by the giant, another, they pretty much died.
I can't remember them anymore, honestly.
There was Pip and Gren, and I only remember that because they mentioned their names last episode. But I remember one died. I think they both died in the same battle, actually.
With that battle where he raises them up from the ground and he's in like
No. It was when they fought the wildlings in the wall.
Oh, wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. It was a while ago. But those were like the main group of friends. And oh, this is where you start having like Arya meeting up with the Hound up on the wall. They have their moment again.
Yeah, pretty much saying kind of like they kind of squashed the beef in a way.
But it's just kind of funny that she really is like Arya is a completely different character than before. Because I remember she used to joke around a lot. Now she's just completely quiet. So even the Hound is like, what the fuck? Like you used to never shut up, and now you're just like, you're just weird.
I think it's just that she's just more like, it's like you said, she's more like strategic now. So even if like, even conversations, she's just not really in it for like the laughter or the enjoyment of it.
And she probably just learned more to listen. Like you learn more from listening than actually saying things. So yeah. And then when Beric joins in, which Beric Dondarrion, by the way, is one that I think is definitely gonna bite the bullet.
Oh,
next.
for sure.
Yeah, I think that'll be the last time he comes back for sure, or he will come back as a walker, and it'll be a little ironic there. But I think definitely he'll go out, and maybe the Hound's the one that'll finally finish him off. But then Arya's like, yeah, fuck that. This is bored. I'm leaving to go get some dick. So,
which makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, like, do you really want to spend your last day talking to a guy
like some old geezers that are just
some old geezers?
They're gonna be insulting each other.
Exactly, and one of them literally like saved your life, but also like threatened you at the same time. It's just like you don't want to like spend the last days doing that. So it makes sense.
No, definitely. And that's when Arya's like, hey. To Gendry, how many girls you banged?
Yeah.
Oh, 3. Well, I'm number 4.
It's kind of weird because she looks so young, but obviously the actress is like 20,
was
23.
super weird.
But the actress she just has a childlike persona about her, and then we grew up watching her. But then you forget like she's also a grown woman.
Oh no, for sure.
She's a grown woman, and actress wise and character wise, like.
No, absolutely. It's just that the first reaction of everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Like we grew up with her in a way. You know what I mean?
I honestly,
or we watched her grow up. Is what I mean.
I haven't seen any backlash for it, but I think someone told me there was a few . Like, what the fuck of like
I mean, it's not backlash. It's more of like people were like, "Whoa!" Like startled by it. But I wouldn't say it's backlash because that wouldn't imply that people hated it. People were just weirded out by it. But
I think when it comes to sex scenes in Game of Thrones. I think the Sansa with
Bolton.
With Bolton is Ramsay. With Ramsay is far
well,
worse.
Of course, because it was actually a rape. But if you think about it, that was one of the least revealing ones.
Right.
Because I that's one of the things I was talking to somebody about. That back in the day, the early seasons of Thrones, it was just titties, sex everywhere. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Like. They didn't give a fuck. It was gratuitous sex. It was like Spartacus levels of sex, where it was just
Spartacus levels.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Spartacus levels like almost every day. Like
that's true. Spartacus levels are pretty crazy. Okay, maybe not Spartacus levels then, but it was pretty much there. And now HBO in general, like even in Westworld, they stopped doing stuff like that. So now it's like they pretty much realize people don't watch the shows for this anymore. I felt like they did that to get people to watch it in the beginning. Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Like that was their way of like, hey,
I mean,
stay for the titties, but
I really, honestly, there hasn't been a like naked scene when I'm like, damn, like, and Judy doesn't really add to the plot. The last time,
no, of course they don't, for sure.
The last time, like, I was just like, oh shit, is in what's this show? Fuck, the HBO show. True Detectives in season 1. I forgot her name, but she's very pretty.
Oh man, the blue eyes. I know exactly what you're talking about from Percy Jackson.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she's very pretty, and I didn't think she was getting naked. I'm like, oh wow, she just looks pretty naked. Other than that, whatever. Yeah. Usually, like sex scenes are not like a big deal. Like,
right.
Unless they drive the plot forward, usually they don't.
Well, even the Cersei one from last episode, because she had sex with Euron Greyjoy. It was bam, like it was done. It was the plot just showed you that it happened, but they didn't have to stay on it.
Right.
So that was just kind of showing me that okay, HBO is definitely getting away from this.
Right.
So when started seeing her take off her gloves and shit, I'm like, oh no, are they gonna do this? Like, and then it was quick. It was side boob and bam,
I'm
done.
kind of wondering if they did the same thing they did with Cersei in the last 2 seasons ago, where they like put her head on the actress's body, like the
yeah, but the double was just for the walk.
Right.
That was it. She just didn't want to do the walk. I can't remember why.
Well, she's like a lot of tattoos though and stuff like that. So I
can't remember what it was. So many years ago, I read the interview about it, but she turned down doing that part for something.
Right. So they had her head imposed on the body. So I'm wondering if they did the same. I mean, not that I care, but I'm just curious.
Oh no, they didn't do the same. Apparently, she was like, "No, that's me." You know, she worked out before it and everything to make sure, like, yeah. But it was funny. They were actually saying, the interview. She thought it was like a joke when she read the script because it was actually I can't remember her real name right now, but it was Sansa that showed it to her. It's like, "Hey, you got a sex scene coming up." And she's like, "Oh shit, this is a joke," and like, "No, it's serious." But then the writers were like, "It's okay, you know, you could show as much or as little as you want, blah blah." You know,
right,
it's cool. Like everyone was totally like cool with it. It wasn't like weird or anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, especially like nowadays with like everything going on, you just don't want to also force that upon actor and actress. But yeah, so yeah, I thought it was a fine scene. I thought it made sense character wise. Like literally, Arya has been through so much, and she's been such a like about the work and not about the play.
Right. And then she was pretty much like, "Yo, I've never done this yet. And it might be my last night. Fuck it, right?
Yeah,
you're hot. I've been eyeball fucking you for a while. Like
it makes sense, and like I don't know anyone who hasn't been in that kind of moment before. So
fun fact: when that episode was over, everyone rushed to Google, and one of the most Googled things was Maisie Williams' age, which is the girl that plays Arya. So I guess everyone just felt weirded out after it and just Googled it. I just thought that was really fucking funny.
That is really
There was a whole article about it. I was like, really? Okay.
That's kind of...
I mean, clearly she's in her 20s, but...
I mean, I don't know. Someone got like Chubb is like, I'm kind of attracted. I need to figure this out. But she just looks young. And at the end of the day, like...
Right. Yeah. And I still think of her as like 11 years old from fucking season 1. So
yeah, exactly.
Weird.
I mean...
Especially since I was watching the recaps.
Yeah.
So... But yeah. I was gonna say one of the funniest things here. Actually, I read this somewhere, and they were like, "Hey, it's episode 69," and then she got. I'm like, "Okay, guys, you guys need to chill."
Yeah, it was today was either tits or GTFO. Like today, this episode had a lot of just like either. Let's fuck or let's just tell each other we love each other. It was a very just emotional, sexually driven episode, and as it should be, because literally,
you're
the next episode.
What are you gonna do on your last night? Right?
Yeah, the last episode they might face they might face death. So it makes sense why it was such a emotionally charged episode.
A little bit before that, actually, I forgot to mention was one of my favorite parts of the episode, or one of my favorite scenes, what I called like the Breakfast Club part, where everyone gets around the fire. All these characters that a lot of them haven't even interacted with each other yet, and they're all together. So you had Tyrion, Jaime, Brienne, Podrick, Davos, and Tormund.
Big Dick Podrick,
huh?
Big Dick Podrick.
Yeah, Big Dick Podrick with the voice of an angel.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all just hanging around the campfire, just chilling, cracking jokes. Hey, let's get drunk. Oh, only half a cup, and then Tyrion's like drowns the whole cup. You know. And Tormund telling his story of why he's called Giant's Bane, because at 10 years old he killed a giant and then got raised by the giant woman, so he was like breastfed.
That's why he's so strong. Yeah, and he's clearly saying all this in front of Brienne, like, "Yo, let's fuck. Like, I'm strong. I'm powerful."
Right, exactly. That's his version of game. Like he's Mac, and he's like, "Yeah." That's why they call me that, Giant's Milk. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
It's weird because, like, Tormund knows that Brienne has feelings or loves Jaime, basically.
You think so?
Well, I mean, he doesn't know, but he knows that, like, he's in, like, this weird, like, game. Like, he knows that, like, oh, you're the dude to beat.
Well, yes, definitely. And that's the reason why he brought up the story, I'm sure, because he kind of looked at Jaime and went, hold up, I got this.
Yeah. So it's weird because Jaime is on the other end, like, I think he knows that Brienne has a soft spot for him and maybe loves him. Obviously,
sure.
He doesn't. He's not gonna ever like.
No.
He's never gonna act on it. But
but he sees her as like.
I would say as an equal.
As an equal, and like his redemption in a way, kind of. I don't know if this redemption is the right way, but clearly she's the reason that he is a good person now.
Yeah, it was him being attached to her was his.
He does. I think he loves her, but in a totally different way. But he definitely would die for her at this point.
Right. He has. She's the reason why he did like a 180.
Definitely. Well, without her, he wouldn't have had the arc that he's had now.
Exactly, and so it makes sense, and he loves her, and like I said, in that kind of way. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because you see Tormund doing all of this like fucking game, quote unquote, and for sure. They get into this conversation of like, oh, have you ever, are you a knight? And she's like, oh, I'm not allowed to be a knight, I've never been knighted. Right. And then Jaime, and the thing is, to be knighted is such a big thing for her. Right. Brienne's not a sexual character. She's never been, she's never thought of sex that way or emotions that way because she's never been allowed to.
Yeah. And also her only passion was to be a knight. Like,
right. So I thought her being knighted in this episode is equivalent to her fucking, basically. Like that's what she got fucked basically by Jaime. And so like Jaime, also wants to honor her and be like, look, you deserve this more than anyone in this room, more than any of these people here. I'm a knight. I've been a knight for a long time. I can knight you.
It was crazy because that scene almost started off as a joke. At least that's what everyone kind of thought of it as, except for maybe Tormund. Tormund was like, yeah, why not? I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
But you kind of see Tyrion and all these people like, haha, get knighted. And then Jaime was like, no, like serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to do this shit right here.
Yeah, and you've earned it. And like... Yeah, and well deserved, honestly.
Without a doubt, because I've always liked to rank the best fighters like season by season, and at this point, Brienne is the best fighter.
Yeah,
because I always said, wait, it has to do with the Hound, but she fucked the Hound up like fair and square.
She is. It's either her or the Mountain.
Oh, that's true. Definitely the Mountain at this point is the one to beat.
And we haven't seen the Mountain fight really since he's came back from the dead.
No, not like that. And he's going to take hits because he's fucking dead. So maybe she'll like slice off an arm and he'll still keep coming.
Right. So yeah, we haven't
But I guess living, because he's technically a Frankenstein monster at this point.
Right.
But living, I think without a doubt, she's the best fighter. Right. Like she could take anyone out.
And it shows because everyone there, even though they were joking when it happened.
When it happened, they all got serious.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, no, you've earned this.
Yeah.
You've earned this. And
yeah, it was more like, is this really going to happen right now? Oh shit, it is. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And she's earned the respect of men. She's earned the respect of kings and queens. And so this was like her trophy moment.
Right.
Like, here's your prize for everything you've done. And so it's very touching because you've seen her throughout the series get disrespected.
Oh, for sure.
And like not get her due.
Constantly. They would say, oh, you're ugly. Because they would call her Brienne the Beauty as like a slap in the face. Right. And it's like...
Yeah. So you've seen her constantly get disrespected and not pretty much be like a not forgotten character, but a throwaway like, oh, you're just a wannabe boy in a sense. And so to have not only easily one of the best fighters, not anymore, but he was one of the best fighters.
Right, at one point.
In the Seven Kingdoms, and so to have someone so, such a big status, basically, from Hand of the King and all the other stuff, to be knighted by this person is an honor. And also, it's not only the person he's also a person you love. So it's just, it was a very touching moment for her. And I'm glad she's had it.
Yeah, she definitely, that moment for a lot of people was like the favorite, the best scene of the episode was that she finally got what was coming to her all this time.
Yeah, and she was like literally almost like in tears.
And I think it also, she was into it. Probably the first time I've seen her smile like that, her character, for sure. And I think it just further elevated Jaime as a character for everyone. Because Jaime's had the upward slope of like, he's not so bad anymore. Now it's like, oh yeah, he's legitimately a good guy at this point.
He's been a good guy, in my opinion, for a very long time.
It's true.
For like maybe three seasons, easily, 3 or 4 seasons.
Right, but last season, he still had that thing with the sister. Like, I'm still going to back up my sister. Even though we saw the doubts, all the doubts being seeded.
It's a thing where like,
So him finally breaking away at the end of last season was 100% solidified him as this guy's a hero.
Right. And it's funny you said that because they had a discussion when Jaime and Tyrion were talking about that inside Winterfell.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Oh, you've known Cersei for who she's like. You always known Cersei for who she is.
And you still loved her.
You just loved her. You just accepted it. You just accepted it." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't see it coming." Like, no, you know who she is.
You definitely did.
Yeah. You just accepted who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this was just him clearly breaking away from all that and doing what's right. And so yeah, it was a good scene.
And then after that scene, they had Podrick sing, and I don't know if you read about what the song was about.
I did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. The Jenny song, that it was pretty much what was it? She fell in love with
one of the Targaryens.
I think it's okay. So it's supposed to be like Daenerys' great uncle, I believe, and he was like the king of Dragonstone, and he fell in love with this essentially a peasant woman and decided to marry her. But the Targaryens were like, "You can't do that. You need to marry a Baratheon for for all this land and to be the king of Storm's End,
right?
Or no, a dragon, whatever, Dragonstone." And he ends up marrying her and abdicates the throne, so he's no longer in line. And then they renamed him to the King of the Dragonflies because he's the king of nothing at that point. And he ends up dying in a fire along with the real king, which I was reading what that moment was, because that's what the song's about. The song's about that she lost everybody and she goes back to, I guess, the rubble to dance with them.
Yeah, basically, Duncan gave up his...
That's it. Duncan Targaryen.
Duncan gave up his claim to the throne to be with a common folk.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so that's all you need to know, basically. And so a lot of people, if you want to get into like what the people think, because, Game of Thrones, especially when they use music, sometimes they use it to mean something.
Right.
Or to signal something. And
I definitely think this has to do with Daenerys and Jon somewhat.
For example, like the Red Wedding, before they all got murked, they played the Lannisters like theme song.
Yeah, which was about a family getting murked.
So they've always used music in a very deliberate way. Mm-hmm. And so they're thinking, the theory is that basically Jon is going to do the same and give up his lineage to the throne to Dany.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
And I could see that.
It would be that or the other way around. But honestly, at the rate it's going, Jon's the one that does not want to rule.
At the way it's going and the way the character has been portrayed so far, Jon doesn't want to rule.
Yeah.
So it's easy for him to give it up. I only see him keeping it for like political reasons brought by like his family.
Yeah.
Like if they make it out of this alive, Sansa's just like, yo, you need to be king, because if you're not king, she's gonna come after Winterfell.
Right.
Some shit like that.
I still think they're both gonna die, but at least symbolically, I definitely think that's what.
Right. I agree.
Oh, and then there was a nice small moment a little bit either before or after that where Sam meets up with Jorah and actually gives him his father's sword, the Heartsbane, the Valyrian sword,
yeah.
Which is, it also brings his character arc full circle because he was banished from the family, because he was a smuggler.
Oh, that's good. Right.
And then, because his father was Gior, which was the knight commander, and he pretty much said that he was ashamed of his son. And that his son's never going to be able to wield the sword because he brought dishonor or whatever. So they gave it to Sam. So it going back to Jorah is just like perfect. And he's going to fight for the North essentially.
And die.
And probably die. So there you go. That's another one that I think is going to die. And again, it's because at this point, his character arc is completely full circle now.
Yeah.
Because he got saved by Sam so that Sam can give him his family...
heirloom.
There you go. And fight. And it's a Valyrian steel sword, so I'm sure he'll take out like White Walkers on the way, but I'm pretty damn positive that he's going to die.
Yeah. Essentially, you're saying like if your story's nicely wrapped up in a bow, like there's no like loose ends.
I believe so.
You're going to die. And I can agree with that.
Yeah. And so after that is like the big moment where pretty much John's been kind of like giving her the cold shoulder, Danny, the cold shoulder the whole episode. And finally she's like, yo, what the fuck is up?
Yeah.
And they meet up in the crypt and it's in front of the statue of Lyanna Stark.
Yeah.
Which we found out now is his mother.
Right.
Not the aunt. So he finally reveals it to her, like straight up. I thought he was going to hold on to it a little longer.
I didn't really see why he needed to tell her, though. I really didn't think of it.
Yeah, like after the battle, please.
Yeah, like literally, like your girl, you should know your girlfriend is batshit crazy right now.
Yeah.
And like, why stress her out with the fact that like not only do you have heir to a throne, you guys are related and you guys just fucked.
Right.
Like there's so much.
But here's the thing about that. No one is bringing that part up.
I think
when Sam and him talked, it wasn't like, yo, you're related. It was like, wait, you have a claim to the throne.
I think it's so common in this show and in those times to be fucking.
Like medieval era.
Yeah, medieval era.
I was gonna say it's a fictional time, but I get what you're saying.
Right, to be fucking like your sibling or whatever, that they're just like, that this is what it is.
Right.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal to them. You know, we're watching it through the lens of the 21st century, you know?
Right. I guess as long as you're not brother and sister in that world,
right,
it's not too crazy.
And even if you were like the Lannisters are, they'll get over it.
Right, because people are cracking jokes about it now to Jamie.
Yeah, so exactly. So at the end of the day, like they crack jokes, but like at the end of the day, like, oh, they know that they love each other.
Like legitimately do.
Yeah,
right.
Like fuck it. You fucked your sister, but we all know you love her. So yeah, so I think it's just a common thing that, you know, it's okay. And so so it's just a weird thing to bring up literally right before battle.
I think it's just because he was clearly he's a person that's emotional. Yeah, and he can't hold that shit in.
It's killing. It's eating at him basically.
Yeah, because it was pissing him off the whole day.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just funny that he says it, of course, and Daenerys' initial reaction is, "Whoa."
That means
who the fuck? Wait, but first it was like, who the fuck told you? And it's like, it was my best friend. And where did he hear it from? Oh yeah, he read about it. And my brother, your brother and your best friend. That's nice.
I mean, honestly, it makes sense because like you're in. Not that she's being like a bitch or anything, but it makes perfect sense because you're in Winterfell. They all hate you, but Sansa clearly does not like you.
For sure,
she has a grudge against you.
Oh, it makes absolute sense why she's pissed.
How can we disrupt this? Literally make your boyfriend against you.
Yeah, it was like at my moment of triumph, suddenly you're a Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes perfect sense of why she's not believing it.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's not. Yeah, so it's not like it's out of left field for her to be like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
I do for sure. Even when she was saying it, I'm like, you got a point.
Yeah.
What a freaking your family and your best friend.
Yeah.
So, and then pretty much when they're about to kind of get into it a little more, that's when you hear the horn blasts and the approach of the White Walkers.
And then the show ends.
And then end scene.
Yeah, and
I'm glad they didn't get into the battle. I was kind of worried that they would kind of cut short some of these character moments for the battle to at least start the battle, and I'm glad they didn't.
No, I'm glad they didn't either. I knew they weren't. I knew they were just going to end it there because literally, think about it. They said that the Battle of Winterfell is going to be the longest battle ever. So it's like, why even why even have a little bit in the episode before?
It's crazy because next episode originally was going to be 60 something minutes.
Yeah,
and then they raised it an extra 20 minutes. So it's going to be.
Is that recently they raised it 20 minutes?
It's recently, within the last few weeks.
So they probably just
last 2 weeks
added more scenes that they probably cut out.
Probably a lot of the battle scenes that they had cut. So they were like, fuck it, let's just throw in the full 80 minutes. So the last 4 episodes coming up are each going to be 80-ish minutes.
Yeah, that's
around.
crazy.
So they're all going to be an hour and 20 minutes. They're all going to be short movies.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's intense.
That's awesome because if you shave off those extra 20, it's pretty much a whole other episode in there somewhere.
Yeah. So not to get into spoilers, clearly the battle's up next episode, and I saw the episode,
previews.
The trailer for the next episode.
Yeah, it's essentially the battle.
Right, and they really didn't show much.
No, it just shows everyone kind of running through the crypts, losing their shit. And
one thing though that I listened to and I heard a theory that was going on is So there's a part where John's like, "Oh, they're here," and then Danny's like, "Oh, they're already. Oh no, they're coming," or no, and Danny's like, "No, they're already here."
You're right.
So obviously, the White Walkers can raise the dead.
Oh.
And they're in the crypts, and they're in the tombs of, and so.
Oh shit! You think Ned's coming back?
So I'm not sure if he was. I mean, I think Khal Drogo, the guy who played Jason Momoa, I think he was on the show like this season.
He showed up, but we don't know if he did a scene.
Right.
For all we know, maybe he just did a voiceover or a dream sequence
right.
like the one.
And I don't know if the guy who played Ned Stark is in the flew over there for that.
Damn.
I feel like they would keep that on the wraps because that'd be huge.
Absolutely.
But
damn, that's a good theory.
It's a good moment to kind of tie in the Lady Stoneheart. Obviously, they're not going to because I don't think they have her body there.
No.
But
I mean, who the fuck knows at this point?
Right. But I mean, if they did, I think they would have shown her statue. At least to just hint,
you're right.
Hint at the fact that she might come back.
Definitely.
But I don't think they're gonna do that.
No.
But they could use that kind of like zombie.
So the crypt, that's actually a good idea. Unless
yeah.
I'm not sure if the dead have to be killed by other White Walkers.
I don't know.
Or if it could just be any dead, but I
Right.
guess we'll find out. That's actually a really good theory. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, so when she says they're already here, meaning they have risen from the crypt, and
I like
then
that.
they have to fight. Like,
and that can kind of show, because I think I saw Arya running through crypts or something, so maybe that could kind of bring that in.
Right, yeah. I mean, the only character technically that we might notice is Ned Stark. Anybody else we won't recognize.
Which is headless, so that'd be interesting.
He is headless.
Yeah, so that'd be a little interesting. That I don't think that's gonna work. Then.
I don't think they have his body then, right?
No, but maybe any of the other. I don't know.
You're right. I remember his head was on a pike in King's Landing.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have his body unless.
But maybe it's not specific dead characters from the past. Maybe just the dead in general of just the crypt.
Yeah.
So
So we might not see any. Ned Stark might not be there. Now that I think about it, you're right, because his head's not there, and then
right.
It'd be kind of weird just to have his body around for no fucking reason, and then someone's like, "Oh, it's your dad's body." That wouldn't make any sense.
That would be a little too weird.
That'd be a bit too cheesy.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Especially since his face probably would have rotted off by then. Because I mean, how old?
Right.
How many years in the show was this? So yeah, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah, but still, the crypts.
But the dead being inside.
Yeah.
Like fighting from the inside. That's a really good point.
Right. So
Definitely.
I feel like that could happen.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
We already got into. Oh, you said you were going to bring up something at the end, though.
That was it.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was it.
Very good.
Yeah, and characters that died, we kind of spoke about that. I agree with you 100% of like those two characters that you mentioned. I feel like more are gonna die, honestly. Like,
yeah, probably.
Podrick could die.
Podrick could die. Tormund could die. I don't think he will.
Gendry could die.
Gendry.
He's literally.
He's
finished making all the armor already.
So here's the thing about that. Actually, going back to that, one of the first things that Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon in the first season talked about was like, you got a daughter, I got a son, let's join our houses. Obviously, they didn't mean that specific daughter and that specific son, because he was talking about Joffrey and Sansa at that point.
Right.
But it kind of happened. I don't think they got pregnant or anything like that, but the fact that they did join in a way brought back that conversation. So it was kind of nice to see.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
The Starks and the Baratheons did kind of come together again.
Yeah.
And are in love with each other. Attracted to each other at this point.
They're attracted to each other for sure. That'd be crazy if at the end she's alive and she is pregnant.
Who knows how that'd be crazy. But that was just a cool little thing someone mentioned online. Like, hey, they joined their houses. I'm like, you're right. They kind of did.
Yeah, they kind of did. And it's funny because I mean, Robert was such a not douchebag, but he was such a like.
He was a musclehead.
He was a musclehead, so he's nothing like Gendry, but.
Yeah.
But you could see Ned Stark totally in Arya.
At this point, for sure.
You could clearly see like
now she's very quiet and strategic now.
The leadership and everything about just
family first.
Yeah, everything that Ned taught her to be, she is.
Yeah.
Because Ned always wanted her to be who she was and never like because her mom was more worried about being a girly girl, but
right.
Ned embraced her, and so,
absolutely. He embraced that she was a tomboy and all that for sure.
It's cool to see her like actually. That's right. They joined houses. Mm-hmm. It would have been funny if they were similar, like if Gendry was like his dad. So they would have been like, it's kind of like the same, but it was pretty cool. You're right. But yeah, I can see him dying as well. Genji could die.
Yeah, I guess
Tormund can die.
I don't think it'll happen because he is the last Baratheon, and I feel like maybe they're trying to keep the next generation alive to, bring back Westeros.
Maybe
back again. So I feel like I don't think chances are high that he'll die. Of course, at this point, anything is possible, but I don't see him dying next episode. Him or Arya, not next episode.
Yeah, Tormund can die.
Tormund could. I like to think, because you notice there's no more wildlings or any of the free folk left. Tormund is the face of the free folk.
Yeah.
So if he dies, that's it. I think they'll keep him just because he's a representative of it in a way. But who knows at the end of the day.
And, at the end of the day, he was trying to bang Brienne. That's not happening.
Hell no, it ain't happening. She's totally not down for it.
And I don't know if it's ever going to happen because they had a clear shot moment to fuck. And it's like, why?
Yeah, she just sized them up like, nah. And that story did not do you any favors.
The only way I think it happens is that they're fighting and then he just shines her in battle, or he just...
That's not happening.
He saves her life so many times. She's like, damn, I need to fuck. I don't know. But other than that, I just don't see it
Jaime has her heart. That's it.
I agree. So yeah, I don't know. Anybody else you think is going to go?
I think that's about it. Maybe what was his face? The other brother, Ed, the one of the last people from the Night's Watch. I think he can go.
Yeah.
But
Lily can go.
Beric Dondarrion, I already said that I think he's going to go. Damn, Lily? Ooh.
That'd be tough for Stam, but...
That would be a tougher one.
Yeah.
You think Davos?
Davos is going to go.
You think so?
Maybe.
I like to think he's such a conscience of the group that... I don't know. He did kind of have
Varys or...
Varys could go, I suppose.
I mean, it's like 3 wise men. They have enough wise men already.
You're right. They do have enough wise men.
Gotta cut them down.
Tyrion's going to survive. He's a fucking cockroach.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He's so tiny. He'll hide in
I did like that he was totally down to fight, and they're like, nah. Especially Dany was like, nah, I need your brain.
And the thing is
but he was super down to fight.
We've seen him fight before.
Right.
And he's not a good fighter.
No, he didn't do that well, but the fact that he was so short in the Battle of Blackwater, he was sneaking up on everybody and just chopping their legs off.
Yeah.
So he was doing pretty good in the fight. He just got slashed by...
He got knocked out, dude.
That was when he got the scar on his face. So he got his face fucked up.
Oh, right. I was thinking about the other one. Yeah. I was thinking about...
You're thinking about the comedic one.
The comedic one, when he got knocked out.
That was season 1. That one doesn't count. That was for laughs.
Yeah. Remember. You're right.
But it was the Blackwater where you're like, this guy can actually fight.
Well, he's actually fighting, yeah.
He's not great, but he can hold on his own. But yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the end of our episode. Catch us up again for next week when we're going to discuss the Battle of Winterfell. Let us know what you think in the comments on Instagram or Facebook. Who you think is going to die this next episode? Let us know. All right, guys. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bum bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum bum bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum